Thank you very much. Where are my fellow bumblebees from Delaware? Hey, you guys are doing an awesome job. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. It's such a delight to be among so many lifelong friends and an honor to have the opportunity to talk to you today about the things that are weighing so heavily on our hearts. I want to start by asking you to think back for a moment to about a year and a half ago when our leaders just took office, our new leaders just took office. Think about how you felt then. Remember the despondency, the anxiety, even a palpable fear for the future of our country. I remember the very first things crossed off the to-do list of our emboldened leaders, forcing us to pay for overseas abortions, ending the Opportunity Scholars Program. That was the one thin thread of hope for inner city and low-income families that would give their children an escape from the failing government schools here in Washington, D.C. How's that for pro-choice? A so-called stimulus bill that spent $1 trillion on a Keynesian fantasy while millions of working Americans lost their jobs and watched their savings disappear. But it didn't end there, did it? They started talking about Obamacare and the bailouts, one industry after another, and our forces in Iraq and Afghanistan, confusion everywhere with chatter about withdrawal dates, plans for closing Gitmo and trying terrorists in Manhattan, looming Supreme Court vacancies. Do you remember it? I know I do. And the conservative movement was told to curl up in a fetal position and just stay there for the next 8 years, thank you very much. Well, how things have changed. During those dark days when common sense, patriotic Americans were looking for some silver lining, they stumbled upon the Constitution. You see, a funny thing happened on the way to our assigned seats on the sideline. Those of us who had toiled for years in the values movement suddenly found ourselves surrounded by Americans who had rediscovered the most fundamental value of all, liberty. These Americans were finding answers to the current problem that threatens our future in the wisdom of our once threatened past. Our friends and neighbors began to join us at the rallies and beneath the "Don't Tread on Me" flags, waving the homemade signs. They were looking around and saying, as Speaker Gingrich often says, "There are more of us than there are of them." And so there are, because this is America. And the ruling class elites may try, but they will never have the last word on liberty. There's something about our national DNA that insists on shouting at those who would be our masters, "You're not the boss of me." Thomas Jefferson said the same thing, but perhaps a little bit more eloquently. He said, "The issue today is the same as has been throughout all history, whether man shall be allowed to govern himself or ruled by a small elite." That is the question, isn't it? And the verdict is in. The small elite don't get us. They call us wacky. They call us wingnuts. We call us we the people. We don't always agree. We don't always share the same strategy memos. We don't always endorse the same candidates or speak off the same talking points. We're loud, we're rowdy, we're passionate. That too. It reminds me of the C.S. Lewis Narnia books, where the little girl asks someone about Aslan the lion, who represents God, and she says with a little concern over such a fearsome lion, "Is he safe?" And her friend says, "Safe? Who said anything about safe? Of course he isn't safe, but he's good. Well, that's what's happening in America today with this grassroots groundswell, this revolution of reason, this love affair with liberty. It isn't tame, but boy, it sure is good. Will they attack us? Yes. Will they smear our backgrounds and distort our records? Undoubtedly. Will they lie about us, harass our families, name call, and try to intimidate us? They will. There's nothing safe about it. But is it worth it? Well, let me ask you. Is freedom worth it? Is America worth it? Are those unalienable rights worth a little alienation from the Beltway popular crowd? I say yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. This is no moment for the faint.